The ESPN FPI is out. Tennessee has jumped up to number 8 after being number 10 in the summer. Keep in mind, in the summer when they were number 10, we're talking about a team that had already added Joey Aguilar. The whole Nico saga had already happened, and now they're up to 8. Before that, they were number 9 in January, before the saga of Nico had happened. So the FPI has been very, very high on Tennessee the whole time. This comes on the heels of the ESPN FP Plus rankings, SP Plus rankings. I want to apologize on that, which has Tennessee at number 12. Why is that relevant? Because both rankings have Tennessee significantly higher than the actual polls have Tennessee. The polls have Tennessee at number 17 in the coaches poll and number 24 in the AP poll. So why is the FPI doing so well? Now, I want to do a caveat real quick. Among preseason prediction accuracy that relies on formulas and not at random voting, the FPI is the 4th least accurate of all major publications. Pick Six Previews, Athlon, Phil Steele, McGilly Sports, Arena Fanatic, and DRatings.com are all better. FPI is ahead of Lindy's, Venus Sports Simulator, and collegefootballpoll.com. So keep that in mind. However, there is no denying that Tennessee has a significantly better ranking in the computers than they do the polls. And it's interesting to know why that is. But that doesn't mean there haven't been some inconsistencies. We're going to play a little hot or cold, brought to you by Sports Treasures, carrying over 5 million sports treasures and so much more. Follow on Facebook for the best sports memorabilia, daily updates, facebook.com/sports treasures TN, facebook.com/sports treasures TN. We're going to talk about the teams that they have moved around since this all began with the FPI back in January when Tennessee again came in at number 9. They were number 9 in the FPI after the football season ended. Their official 2024 FPI finished at number 9. They fell down to number 10, only number 10 in spring ball after losing Nico Iamaleava. And then they jumped up to number 8 in the preseason FPI for 2025. More importantly, their projected record has gone from 8.7 in the summer to 9 now. They are projected right at 9-3. Given a 43% chance to make the playoff. They are the highest ranked team of the teams with a less than 50% chance to make the playoff. There are 7 teams given a greater than 50% chance to make the playoff. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, and Oregon all have a greater than 50% chance. Tennessee is the highest of the team. They are the highest ranked teams of anybody below 50% chance, and they have the best chance of anybody with less than a 50% chance at 43%. Their odds to make the national title game are 7.1%. Their odds to win it are 3.2%. Their odds to win the conference title are 6.1%. So I want to reiterate that. Their odds to win the conference are longer than their odds to make the national title game. Should give you a rundown of just how tough the SEC is this year. At the same time, to be fair, Ohio State's odds to win the most of the SEC teams are like that this year. None of the Big Ten teams are, for the record. Ohio State has a 35% chance to win the Big Ten, 19.5 to make the national title game. Penn State at 30.7, 17.1 national title game. Oregon at 13.4, 8.9 to make the national title game. So let's get rolling. Hot or cold, the teams that have been moving around them, and let's discuss which of these we are hot on, cold on Tennessee being better than. So starting with Texas A&M. Tennessee jumped Texas A&M from 9th to 8th. Texas A&M went from 8th to 9th. I'm sorry, from 10th to 8th, excuse me. So in June of this year, Texas A&M was number 8 in the FPI. Tennessee was number 10. Now, Tennessee is number 8 in the FPI. Texas A&M is number 9. All right, guys, I'm actually cold on that. And when I say cold, again, I don't debate formulas. I don't do that. This isn't an opinion by the FPI. They're just doing their formulas. I'm just saying if I'm cold on the formula being right or not for this team. I don't think the formula is going to be accurate for Texas A&M. I've said for a while, I think Texas A&M is going to end up being better than Tennessee this year, or at least has the case to be better. I think there's a lot of talent. Now, does that mean Texas A&M will make the playoff over Tennessee? No, I don't think so, largely because I think Tennessee has an easier schedule. But I do think Texas A&M will actually be better than Tennessee this year. So I'm cold on that. Keeping it going, hot or cold? Miami. I don't know what happened with the FPI because, again, it's formula-based, not opinion-based, but Miami dropped from 9th in the summer in June to 17th ahead of the start of the season, whereas Tennessee moved from 10th to 8th. They were one spot behind Miami. I am extremely hot on Tennessee being ahead of Miami. I've been screaming for a while now that Miami's massively overrated this year. They didn't have that many impressive wins last year. If any, they got a bad head coach from Mario Cristobal who can't make in-game decisions. And Carson Beck is not a fit for Cristobal's system the way Cam Ward was. I don't get the hype behind Miami. I think it's again, all you could believe is that they are playing in the ACC, which should give them an easy track to get to the college football playoff. But I am extremely hot on Tennessee being ahead of Miami and extremely cold on Miami. We got one more team to discuss. Hot or cold, brought to you by Sports Treasures, carrying over 5 million sports treasures and so much more. Follow on Facebook for the best sports memorabilia, daily updates, facebook.com/sports treasures TN.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
The final team that Tennessee has alternated rankings with, Ole Miss. Now, Tennessee has stayed consistently ahead of Ole Miss in the 2025 FPI. However, Ole Miss finished the 2024 FPI ranked number 5. Tennessee finished it ranked number 9. Tennessee is now number 8 in the FPI. Ole Miss is number 10. Ole Miss moved up to 10th from 13th in the summer when Tennessee was number 10. Now, you may think, well, obviously this isn't a big deal. That's last year's FPI. Ole Miss lost a ton of talent, so they're going to be below Tennessee. Well, you would be wrong because the Ole Miss model is to lose a ton of talent and replace it every year. And they were ahead of Tennessee last year when Tennessee seemed to be a much better team entering the season than they are this year. However, all that being said, I'm still hot on Tennessee being ahead of Ole Miss. I'm hot on Tennessee being ahead of Ole Miss because you had the fear of the unknown with Ole Miss. And guess what? Tennessee made the playoff last year. Ole Miss didn't. A few other names I want to just go down the list that you could debate. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, Oregon. I got no problem with any of those teams being ahead of Tennessee. That's totally fine. Below Tennessee, I mentioned Texas A&M and Ole Miss. South Carolina below Tennessee. LSU below Tennessee. I think those two have a case to be ahead of Tennessee. Florida and USC below Tennessee. Fine with that. They should be. Same with Michigan. Clemson below Tennessee. I'm glad people are doing that. Clemson's down at 16. A bunch of teams are having them. A bunch of voters are having them in the top 5. Really overrating Cade Klubnik. I'm telling you guys, Clemson is very overrated with that. Miami below at number 17. Kansas State number 18. SMU 19th. Oklahoma 20th. FPI and AP poll are similar with Oklahoma. Interesting. Auburn 21. BYU 22. Missouri 23. Arizona State 24. Indiana 20. That rounds out the top 25. And again, it's not like you say whether or not you agree with something or this FPI is not an opinion. It's just using, your certain metrics to determine how good you're going to be. Tennessee's strength of schedule. One thing that really stands out is their strength of schedule is underrated compared to their projected strength of schedule, is actually very underrated for the year, and I don't think enough teams are talking about it. Florida, it's number 21. Now, look, per FPI, second easiest in the SEC. Missouri's down at number 27. But the SEC is overloading the strength of schedule. Florida, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, A&M, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Kentucky, Texas, and Georgia have the 9 toughest strength of schedule. Wisconsin's number 10, LSU's number 11, Alabama's number 12, South Carolina's number 13, and Auburn is number 14. Syracuse, of all teams, is number 15. Their FPI is number 63. Hence the reason I think there's no more fear of Tennessee being upset by Syracuse. And then the other SEC team ranked ahead of Tennessee in strength of schedule, Ole Miss at number 20. So we're going to see how that all plays out. But at least for now, Tennessee's schedule is underrated, but it is very easy by SEC standards, which is why I think, honestly, they should be given a greater chance to make the playoff. I don't know how the formula for the FPI works, but that's just my take.